But in the NDC, questions are emerging over who will serve as the next running mate for the opposition National Democratic Congress. Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman was chosen by John Mahama for the 2020 presidential elections. But sources say no definite decision has been made yet on retaining the good old professor, especially as the party is carrying out a post-mortem on the actual influence of the former education minister and what she brought to bear during the 2020 presidential elections. It's the reason for which we need to have this conversation, as of course the intense lobbying and jostling is going on within the political party. Joining me now is Johnny Osei Kofi, who's a former deputy chief of staff, joining the conversation now. Thank you, sir, for spending some time with us here on the Johnny channel. Let's start off with this whole, jostling within the NDC. A lot of people making a case for Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman and others also asking for a fresh face going into the 2020 general elections. I just want to pick your thoughts, first of all, on rumors going around that she has been confirmed and will be the one running. If that's the case, what are the fortunes of your party going into the next elections?
Good afternoon, listeners. I hope you hear me.
Loud and clear, sir.
Okay. Yeah, the way you put your question about jostling and rumors and so on, I don't think it is in that vein. I think that the professor, at the time that she was selected, she did well. In campaigning, she has a lot of good marks, in her bag. But for me, sitting here, looking at the dynamics of our own politics, I think that it's time that we shifted attention to Ashanti region. Because the battle for 2024, a lot of it will be in Ashanti region. The concentration is on Ashanti region. The NPP, the ruling government party, is even gearing up to do more campaigning to make sure that they have their numbers here, maintain their numbers, or maintain the margin, or increase their margin. This is the time that the NDC, we feel that we have done a lot in Ashanti, and for Ashanti, and therefore we need Ashanti, to reward the NDC.
Okay, when you say this, when you say this, and you are a very well-known person within the party, you'll be accused of engaging, for instance, in ethnocentric politics, which will not be healthy for your political party. How would you, for instance, respond to such a claim?
It is not ethnocentric. It is all politics. It's not about a tribe. It's not about anything. But it's the politics. It's the numbers. We think that if we choose somebody from here, we'll be able to attract more votes beyond the votes that the votes beyond the NDC numbers as we have at this time. And we want to have a very strong hold here in Ashanti. And we think that, an Ashanti candidate should be able to help us to achieve this with the support of all the other members of the party, both within the region and outside the region. It's a question of numbers. And it is something that, a discussion that has gone on. How do you get more, people in Ashanti region to be voting for the NDC and away from the MPP? So that is why I'm saying that the selection, should be from Ashanti, and I'm convinced about that. Many people are also convinced about that.
Okay, let's put this. Let's put this.
It has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with the professor or anybody. But it has everything to do with the question of numbers and strategic planning in terms of choice.
I want us to put this to a test. Which names amongst the Ashanti Regional NDC stalwarts will be better placed to serve as the running mate to John Mahama in the 2024 elections?
You know, I think at this moment, it is President Mahama who will have to make that decision that Ashanti, you know, is a choice. Ashanti is, if you like, the campaign ground for 2024. Now, if he convinces himself with the party leadership that Ashanti is the case, then we can present to you a number of names. But for now, I would not mention any names.
I can give you a number of names.
Okay.
The last primaries you ran, of course, there was one key, in fact, two of them who ran for presidential candidate. You have Kojo Bonsu and also the former finance minister, Dr. Kwabena Dufo, also going into the race. These two names came up strongly. Are you advising John Mahama to go for these individuals? Consider any of them?
None of them.
Then you don't have a candidate. You don't have anyone from the Ashanti region.
Okay, let President Mahama make that decision. And you know that we have a number of candidates who can fit that bill. We want that decision to be made. So it's not Honorable Kojo Bonsu or Dr. Dufo. That is my opinion.
Then you ask him. You ask him to go for Muntaka. He's the only one, I guess, holding perhaps one of the seats for you in the Ashanti region. It's a numbers game, so we need to talk the science about it. Who's going to bring the numbers? That's the question.
Let the John Mahama, the flag bearer, make that decision about Ashanti, and we will surprise you with the names and people who are capable, and we will select one.
Okay,
he will select.
I'm asking the question because, and this has been made by political scientists. Fortunately, Dr. Asante is also with us. He's a political scientist at the University of Ghana, so we'll subject that to a test shortly. But take it or leave it, the NDC cannot sweep the Ashanti region in terms of overturning the votes or outperforming the New Patriotic Party. It's a fact, isn't it?
It's not a fact. If we can man our polling stations very well and check certain things which we have identified over the years, in 2024, if we put our feet on the ground, we may not get 1.7 million or 2 million, but we are capable of upsetting the numbers, which will go for us, for the NDC. There's a lot of goodwill in the Ashanti region now for a change. And that is, we have to work, on the wave, the energy that we have, in the region. That is why we have a choice here. We have to get a choice from within the region.
If any region should feel entitled, some say this should be the Volta region. That's quote and unquote the World Bank of the NDC, as you describe it, you in the NDC describe it. Yet that coalition of the party is not even entitled to ask the former president to say, well, give us a vice presidential slot. So why should it be the Ashanti region then?
Okay, it is not a question of entitlement. No region is entitled to have a certain position, within the party at the top there. No region. It's not entitlement. We are saying that it's a question of numbers. The MPP, this is their stronghold. And if we have to win this election, then we have to face the MPP in their stronghold. And let me tell you, the MPP is weaker now than ever. The MPP is not the MPP that we knew. It's not as popular as that. And we think that this is the occasion, and this is the place to pitch our camp and make sure that we get a lot of people who will vote for the NDC. They may not come and join the NDC as such, but for the development works that John Mahama has done in Ashanti as compared to the MPP itself over the years, I think that is why we have to make that choice.
Okay,
it's not about any tribe, any region,
right.
No. No politics of numbers and a strategy.
Okay.
That is what I believe in. And many of us believe in that strategy.
Okay, well, when you say many, we'll subject that to further probe shortly. But Johnny, just stay with us because this is a very important conversation, that you're contributing to. Dr. Asante is a political scientist at the University of Ghana. Doc, you've also been listening to the conversation, and it's come up. In fact, the Daily Dispatch also writing about it today, indicating that the party is at a crossroads, as they're describing it, the need for the party to make a decision. Will the Ashanti region be the best choice for John Mahama going into the 2024 elections?
Good afternoon, Blessed, and good afternoon to your viewers. I think that any of the regions, apart from the home region of John Mahama, is worth considering. Why am I saying this? Because, it will be suicidal for John Mahama to pick anybody from the northern regions, because that is his home area. It will not gel for unity of the party, and then any political advantage that the party can gain from this. But quite apart from that, any of the regions, it's fine that John will be able to pick from. But I will go for a repeat of the last election dose, that they should be able to maintain the lady and the professor.
Okay, and each time that comes up, there's the question as to what really Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman brought on board during the 2020 presidential elections. Some arguing otherwise to say, well, if you had featured a different candidate, that person would have brought something else on board in terms of more numbers. I don't know. You are the one watching
the question is, who is that person that he has better, credentials than Jane Nana? Let's look at the professor, what he brought to the table. The professor has a number of constituencies as an academic. He brought a number of scholars to the fore. Two, as somebody from Central Region, obviously he's coming from a constituency. As a woman, the gender factor is also in here. And then as somebody who has made a lot of progress in her life, she appeals to a lot of well-meaning Ghanaians, and is a symbol of hope for young and developing people. Right. So, and then given the fact that a giant party like the NDC has, stepped out to bring such a candidate out, it's a plus. So I believe that the woman has all that it takes to partner with John. Okay. And last election,
yes,
there is no who can convince me with any scientific, figures that the woman. Because of inclusion, that's why they got the figures low and all that. No, the woman's addition was a good one. And I believe that strategically, if they really, really want to maintain their hold, they should maintain the woman. But apart from that, any other person is also qualified. Yes.
Angle you've not been looking at. And of course, I just put that to Johnny Ose Kofi, who is the former Deputy Chief of Staff. Also looking at the Ashanti region, for instance, there's a lot of, opinions flying about within the National Democratic Congress as we speak. And he says, well, the best interest of the party must stand, and that should be the Ashanti region because of the quote-unquote vulnerability of the governing party in the region. Has that been established?
I have, in all these things, I have a difficulty in all these things. I look for somebody with a certain acumen, certain characteristics, right? But the issue of when they say region, you are talking about regionalist consideration, and it dovetails into our ethnic conversation. But research has shown that if you want to play the ethnic card, ethnicity has very little place in elections, I can tell you. People make a whole lot of noise. They will tell you that they want a person from the region and all that. But when you stretch the conversation further, they will not be able to say it in public. But it goes down to what? The issue of ethnicity. Ethnicity has never featured prominently in Ghanaian politics. If you're looking at the literature,
but you've listened to him. He says it has nothing to do with that. I mean, Johnny, you're still with us. What's your reaction to this?
Yeah.
The feeling.
Johnny cannot say that, and he will never say that.
Right.
Nobody will say that because it's not a good thing. But I'm saying that let us look for people who have certain qualities as opposed to where they come from and the rest of them.
Oh, okay.
I am saying that the person can come from any region apart from the home region of John Mahama, because if you put the flag bearer and the running mate from the same region, it will not gel or bode well.
Okay. All right. Just hold on for me, Doc. Johnny, so the point is that regardless of, who the NDC may consider, once it's not from the home region of former President John Mahama, that should be good for the NDC to go with.
Yeah, the question have been put severally, about, okay, if it's not this, what?
Yes.
So some people have suggested, okay, let's go to Greater Accra, let's go to Volta, let's go to this. All that permutations and so on has been made. But let me assure you that whatever my brother is saying about ethnicity, it's not ethnicity. It's the numbers, it's strategy. We are not saying that, I'm not saying that because, we are an Ashanti region, somebody must come from Ashanti. There are people who are not from this region. I'm not saying that they are Ashantis, but they don't live in this region. And they think that, we must choose somebody from this region. And that is what we are looking at. It has nothing to do with ethnicity. And I would plead that nobody brings into, the conversation about ethnicity.
Yeah, but that will come up. You are an astute politician. That will come up.
That's what somebody wants to create. Because, look, that's what somebody, wants to create. That is an ethnic factor. It's not. People are afraid to talk about it in this way because they will say, ethnicity. I'm not afraid to say it because I know it is not an ethnic issue that I'm talking about. I'm talking about where we can face our strongest opponent and win. And that is it.
Okay, here's the thing. You are very influential. You're telling us now that perhaps this is not just a reflection of an individual perspective and that some other persons within the party share the same concern with you. Has there been an effort, either overt or through your diplomatic channels, to try and reach out to now the leader of your party who's going to stand the elections in the 2024 contest to say, go for an Ashanti? What would be JM's take, for instance, on that?
Well, he will listen. If I know the John Mahama very well, he will listen to all the arguments and finally make his decision. So if we are bringing the Ashanti card because we think that we have to tackle our greatest opponent on its own turf, which for me, I feel very strongly about it, then so be it. It's not because Professor Opoku-Agyeman, is not a good person, is not qualified and so on. But who says that we may not even get a professor of the same caliber from the region? But that is why I'm saying let us wait. When we are convinced that this is the way to go, we go that way.
If you're saying that, this would not be a vote of no confidence if JM changes Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, then here's the question as well: that what will you lose as a political party if you have her running again side by side John Mahama in the 2024 elections?
Well, we have her running again. Is that what you say?
Yes. What will you lose as a party?
Well, if the president, I always say the president because he has been my president for a long time. If he decides to, go with the professor, so be it. And we will all respect that.
No, but that's not my question. My question is, what will you lose as a political party if Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman goes into the 2024 elections with John Mahama?
If I answer that question which other way, I will not be being fair to my argument, and I will not be fair to her.
Okay, so you don't have an argument, you say?
I don't have an argument. I have an argument, but I won't say this on radio.
So tell us then, because you're saying that there will be a better option for the party to go for, to play the Ashanti card. I'm saying that what will you then lose?
We are not playing the Ashanti card. Let's play the Ashanti region
card. Okay, good way of qualifying that. What will you lose as a political party if Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman runs again side by side John Dramani Mahama?
I don't think we will lose much. We will lose much. But I think we have a lot to gain if we chose, the region Ashanti as the battleground and use indigenous people to lead the charge. That is all that I am saying. And that is what other people are saying. And those other people are not people who live in Ashanti or are even Ashantis. So I want to make it very clear that it is not, an ethnic issue. It's only a strategic issue. And we think that this is the time. There are a lot of young people in this region who on daily basis are wishing to vote for the NDC in the next election. But who is to ginger them? Who is to encourage them? Who is to lead the charge, to gather all of them? There are other business people who are interested. So that is why I think that we have to make Ashanti, the second headquarters of the NDC and work towards the 2024 election.
The NDC prides itself as one of the political parties, for namesake and for what you claim you've stood for over the years, to be a democratic political party. Are you seeking to take this out to the national leadership of the party collectively, not just as an individual?
Well, we are having discussion about all over the place. And then you use a term that is that what?
You pride yourself as a democratic political party. That's what I'm saying, sir.
I pride myself.
No, your political party, the NDC.
Yes, it is a democratic party.
Yes.
So it's not that, it's solid on that matter. In that direction. Okay? So, that is it for you. We are just planning to have it done and build this thing for you. I lost the thread of your question.
Oh, apologies. I was just asking if you're going to send a petition to the national leadership of the party.
No. It's not a question of petitioning. I don't think that is the way to go. That people in the Ashanti region, we write a letter to national and so on. But a discussion like this that we are having also goes down. And those who are leaders, they would put two and two together.
Okay.
So I don't think that we are going to have a big meeting or a conference and so on and debate this. I don't think so.
Okay.
But now that this thing is being discussed, I'm sure all those who matter in making decisions in the party are also listening. At the end of the day, they will form a certain opinion. And then John Mahama will make his decision.
Yeah, he would have to make that decision. I'll give you the final word to yourself and then Dr. Asante, who's with us. Let me start off with you, Dr. Asante. What will be the marching orders? Well, you don't hold any office within the NDC. But what do you see happening in the coming days, given what's, coming up?
Yeah, I must say that, let me first disagree with Ms. Osei. Ms. Osei was saying that you need somebody in Ashanti region to ginger the people. So my question is, are you saying that if you don't pick anybody, in case John Mahama decides that he will not pick anybody from Ashanti region, there's nobody to ginger him? That is not the case, all right? Whoever is appointed is the representative of the party. And if there is anything called gingering people, the person can do it across all the regions. You need somebody who will bring a lot on the table to support the process and to make sure that the choice that you have reflect the dreams and aspirations of the people, and the person is bringing a lot on the table. That is it. But not necessarily that you need somebody who's from the region to ginger the people before they give their vote or you win the numbers. No.
This will be a hard decision for John Mahama, you agree?
It is not. It is not. This is not the first time he's selecting somebody to partner him. So it's something that he can do. But I'm saying that, I'll go back to my point, that the woman is a material worth considering, and so is any other person who come from any of the regions, apart from John Mahama's home region, in order to have a regional balance and to make sure that all you have proper shapes of opinion represented. But let us look at somebody who has the qualities. Yes, whoever that you're going to line up, you need to assess them on individual basis. Their strength, not only their qualities, but do they have baggage in the system? Because if the person has baggage, you are going to struggle to deal with that. You want to also know whether the person name resonate with people in and across the country. You want to also know that the person, whether has really worked before and has something to show, because all these things will come up. So it's a tall order. It's not that simple. But I know that those who are elected in Ghana as flag bearers, they have what it takes to be able to do this. So I'm not sure that it will be difficult for John to be able to decide who will partner him. But I think that the woman is a material worth considering. And so is any other person from any region apart from John Mahama's home region. That would be the best bet for the party.
Doc, thanks for your time. Mr. Osei, as we wrap up, a minute for you. What will be your final words and message to, rank and file of the party?
Yeah, somebody was disturbing me with a call. Your question, please.
What will be your final message to, rank and file of the party as we, of course, wrap up this conversation?
Yeah. Let me just say that I disagree with Mr. Asante.
Dr. Asante, yes.
That, the argument that he made, it's just an academic argument. And it is true. Everybody is this, you have to be that, and so on and so forth. It's an academic argument. My argument is that we have a battlefield and we have to fight it. What is the best strategy here? Use the local people here who know the terrain, who know the houses, who know the communities to do this. People that they can identify that, we know this guy, he's always been here and so on. Look, the vote for Ashanti region alone in Ashanti region is so big that the MPP uses that, a lot to win the elections. We have to be able to chip in there and take more of that vote on our side, which we think is possible when we are able to prevent certain things that normally happens during elections. And we are determined to do that. So, thank you.
Okay, and I'm sure that this conversation will definitely continue. We'll reconnect some other time. Thank you for spending some time with us. You heard from the former Deputy Chief of Staff, Johnny Osei Kofi, and also Dr. Kwame Asante, who's a political scientist at the University of Ghana. You're watching the Pulse on the Joy News channel. When we get back, we'll talk about some more development. As far as the close season is concerned, the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture is making some fresh directives, and yet we're not seeing the impact and cooperation from the fisher folk. We'll get into the details for you shortly as far as the close season is concerned. You're watching The Pulse. We'll be back shortly.